Pill Hardcore Radio Show. Hosted by
You are all fools to challenge me. I'll crush you. It's been a long time since I've been at full power. Come at me with everything you've got, understand?
We're gonna war. We're gonna eat that sauce up for breakfast.
Yes, you are tuned in to the Red Pill Hardcore Radio Show. I'm your host, V, and I've got Bill the Butcher here with me, who stays true to his name. I didn't mean to give him so many knives last night, but hey, these things happen. I've also got Will here from Demand the Truth, and we are going to have another wonderful broadcast today. So, we are supposed to have a wonderful lady by the name of Yvonne Davis calling in, but I do want to apologize to the listeners and people who get booked on the show. We have a Calendly site, and, well, our pro account, whatever, there's a lapse or something like that. We're new to this thing. So I'm getting a secretary to handle that aspect of the show because it's just confusing to me and I have too many things to do than to check cancellations and things like that. Not that we're ever going to be starving for subject matter or discussion. So I want to go ahead and give a shout out to everyone who's listening and to thank everyone who does listen. Now, there are people who are going to be calling in, and if you don't agree with anything we say, well, bring it on. But please try to do it with intelligent conversation. Don't just say that you don't agree with us and call us names. Come with an argument. Tell us why. Don't tell us that you're not qualified to tell us why you think things about us or have an opinion about us. Just come out with it. For the first time, this is what I've been wanting. I've been in radio for years. I've been in TV for years. And I have had people just, yes, I mean, my guests have been so well researched and educated, and we have great shows. But I'm not above little controversy here. We can be combative. Let's talk. Because that's another way that we can reach understanding. If I'm wrong, I will be the first person in the world to say, yeah, you know what? I'm wrong. So I'm not here to bite anybody's head off. We're here to get some enlightenment done. I'm here, I'm like Scarface of the red pill scene here. I'm going to sling as many red pills out there as I can, all right? So, with that said, I think we should go ahead and start the show. How are my co-hosts doing?
I'm doing great. I would appreciate a little warning when you bring a superstar on like you did last night. I thought you were from the trailer park. My apologies to the audience and everything. But, you think the person that had submitted and been published in, like, the New York Times, which Dr. Ted let me know about after the show and everything, would be a little bit smarter than a simple old boy from Austin.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I had Janet Palin on my TV show beforehand. Unfortunately, the recording got trashed because of, for whatever recording malfunction. She had the story on the government polluting the water system and having ways of putting out biological and chemical warfare through the water system, and she was dead on. This is stuff that I've researched before too. As far as targeting people and all this stuff, the information she had was primo. But as far as she was talking about last night, I don't. I followed it. It's just it wasn't precise, and so when we go into those vague generalities, I mean, that's one say, oh, your show is softcore, it's not hardcore. Hey, well, there's a certain level in which you have to present things to the people. I understand, but me, it's the difference between people saying, oh, okay, the government spraying chemtrails on us from mind control. I'm sitting here telling you the mechanics of it, the quantum entanglement, the particle resonance within the neural pathways. I get deep into the detail. That's what makes me hardcore. I'm not going to dumb things down to just a bland general, yes, we know these people are evil. We know that Epstein did this and these people are doing that. But, I really wanted to get her to understand her own situation. I really wish I could have gotten more into her situation because she didn't understand that these people with the Secret Service were not investigating the people who they said that they were investigating. They were investigating her to see how much she knows. And I don't really think she understood that. And the way how corrupt these people are, they're assessing her to see if they need to put her on a hit list. And wherever Janet Palin is, I know she went to Mexico and stuff. I really hope she is safe where she's at. I don't dislike her. And like I said, she had hell of information with this water poisoning thing, and I wish we could do a re-recording of that. But at the same time, this is a rough game that we're in here with this journalism. If somebody doesn't agree with you, you don't just hang up the phone. You power through and you get a consensus, or you divide the line with your facts and someone else's facts. So it's just, that's just the level of things that I do things on. So with that said, I'm not sure if our guest is called in. We'll give her a couple more minutes. If not, we'll bring in.
I think Dr. Ted is already on the line. I've seen a flash come up. He's already tied in. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you know what? Dr. Ted, now, as much as Bill has talked you up with me, and as much as we have talked, I know we spent hours talking, you're still a bit of a mystery to me because I know where you've ended up, but I don't know where you began. So can you let the people know who you are? Because you are taking over my TV show, Targeted, with Bill. So I want people to sort of get a prelude, a prequel, or a foreword about you, and have a source to see who you are before you start the show.
Well, sure. I'll be happy to give you a short bio. Billy and I have been in one kind of business or another with one another since I was 19 years old. And Billy and I basically survived in a market that was not controlled the way that the market is today. If you could come up with a plan and execute it, get some backing, anybody could make anything. Anybody could nail two boards together and make some. So I guess you could say I started off. I began my life as a young adult with college. I went to Mary Hardin Baylor, came back, and Billy and I operated a rental business that had about 500 units together, and we spent we spent our time cooking up schemes to make money, and we made quite a bit of money. And that came to an end when the gentleman that owned the rental business that we were operating died, and his family came in and just decided to break it up into pieces and sell it. Well, Billy went his way, and I went mine, and the direction I went in was to get into, not to put too fine a point on it, Billy and I both went into lives of, Billy, and correct me if you think there's a better way of putting this, but Billy and I went into lives that were more or less characterized by legitimate or legal crime, violence. We made people who, and we didn't do it together. We did it separately for different people. He worked for one group of people, and I worked for another group of people. But we made people who had made promises and then forgotten to make good on their promises, And one thing led to another, and I wound up going to work for a woman in Seattle who owned an investigative agency. This investigative agency was a very strange affair in that she was actually running a trucking company, and when her husband died, she found out. Well, I guess she'd known all along. I don't know. She and I never were close, but she sure discovered when he died that his two brothers were in the mob, and they were just going to take that trucking company. And she decided to fight back. So she hired guys like me to drive those trucks. And she developed her new partner that she wound up marrying had an investigative agency, and they merged the two. So for some time, I moved around the country and basically, I drove the truck for her. So everybody who drove a truck for her drove that truck so that it provided a reason for them to be where they were. It's funny.
Ted,
nobody ever really asked me to do this.
Dr. Ted.
Yeah.
Very quickly, let me ask you: did you become a doctor before or after this?
After.
Okay. You sound like like an enforcer. You and Bill. It sounds like some definitely some mafioso type of stuff.
The Bash
here.
Brothers.
I told you I told you he was smart, Ted. I told you this guy was smart.
Oh, okay. Well, but
there's no sense
Ted,
in being
we're
around.
going to leave it right there. Ted, no.
Okay.
No, I can't do this right now. Ted, we're going to let that be a teaser. Okay? We're going to let that be a teaser.
Okay.
I want people to listen to the show because we get more on Ted. We're probably going to do it little by little. But we have our guest. She called in a little bit late. And we have Yvonne Davis on hold. And she's a target individual. And Ted, I'm going to want you to listen in on this. And I'm going to give last few minutes of the show to chime in and sort of like Jerry Springer's last words or moments, how he did on his show. But
Sure.
just to show you the landscape of what we're going to be doing. So if we can put Yvonne through, that'll be good. Can we do that?
Hi, Anthony. This is Mrs. Yvonne.
There's no Anthony here. Anthony is the owner of the True Pharmacy Network.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Stuff.
I'm sorry. This is
Hardcore.
Yvonne. Sorry, my head hurts. I'm a targeted individual, so I've got people talking to me at the same time.
Well, there are the people behind the scenes, and those are the people in the front who do what we got to do. So we all play our parts, and everyone gets everyone else confused. So, of course, all this wouldn't be possible for Anthony, but I want to let you go ahead and talk about why you came onto the show, because you are a target individual, correct?
Yes, I am. I am.
Okay.
I just wanted to.
Well, IMB, by the way, are you familiar with my documentaries, TV shows, and things like that?
I'm not. This is the first one I've been on.
That's good. A fresh one. All right. You're on with me, V. We have Bill the Butcher, and we have Will. So please tell us your story.
Well, about 20 years ago, I started being targeted, and I started having microchips put in my body from different surgeries, and I've since found out that I have a lot of gang stalking and stuff, and I have multiple attackers. I think there's a couple programs that are going on, and I'm not quite sure what, but I have a lot of microwave weapons around me, and I have pain 24 hours a day. And I'm just trying to, figure out what's going on and get more public awareness about the technology and stuff so we can get out in the open.
Yeah, this is Will. I want to jump in here quick, and thank you for having the courage to come on and speak with us. I definitely really appreciate it. I always like to catalog for everybody, and just general curiosity too. Why don't you tell us about what first started happening when you started noticing, and maybe why that started happening? I'm always interested as to why certain people get targeted, because I like to see if there's some commonalities, and I've seen there have been so far. But if you could tell us about that, I'd love that.
Let's see. Well, I think that it was because I had a lot of medical problems, and I had some history with some more, I don't know how to say it, some questionable characters that needed some help. And I got involved with them, and I became targeted from them. I think it's more of the gang, and it's hard to explain. But I started seeing people more around me that would start to follow me, turn away, do certain movements, start to cough, do little movements and stuff around me, and then all of a sudden I would be hit or tap their back of their neck or their shoulder or something, and then all of a sudden I would notice that I would experience pain. I don't know if that makes sense or if you are aware of much.
And I also wanted to know, I don't want to hog up all the time, but I always find it very interesting about the microchips. It's something that's happening more and more. I read an article about how it's getting more prevalent in Sweden. We have Elon Musk with his Neuralink coming up now. I'm interested to find out what happened with the microchips and, how you found out you even had them in you.
Actually, I haven't really found out. I just can feel that, in certain areas of my body, the stuff kind of zones to it. The radiation kind of zones to it. It pulsates, like in my neck. I feel like I had a epidural put in, and I had a herniated disc in my neck, and I've had some in my spine, and I feel like I got microchips in there because I get hit in the back a lot and in the neck.
Okay, now you're speaking TI language, and we are going to have to explain some TI language when we come back from commercial break.
Okay.
You couldn't last a day in my shoes. A lot of these cats, I wish they just would get the address to the gym. Everything is not for everybody. You couldn't last a day in my shoes. A lot of these cats, I wish they just forget the address to the gym. You know, everything is not for everybody.
Yes, yes, yes. This is the Red Pill Hardcore Radio Show. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Man, it's so nice to have a producer to the show. Just a professional. Yeah, so we still have Yvonne here, and I want to hit her with some knowledge at the end of the show, but Yvonne, I'm going to want you to sit back and listen for the short segment. It's only 5 minutes. We'll go to a commercial break, and then we're going to let you talk some more, okay?
Okay, that sounds good.
I want Ted, Dr. Ted, to jump in here, because there is something I've been wanting to ask a psychologist. Now, I've been studying psychology ever since I could read. Books upon books upon books. Now, you know, something has to happen when it comes to, let's say, paranoia. Now, there is something with these TIs that happens, and paranoia, and this word has been demonized. Paranoia is not necessarily a bad thing, especially when you know bad things are happening. For example, your daughter scrapes her knee playing on the playground, and you're too scared to send her to school because you don't want CPS showing up at your door. That is logical and cautious. And it's something that we are being pushed into. We're becoming a paranoid society because of the things that are happening. Now, why is it a bad diagnosis to be paranoid? What is going on with this?
Well, the main reason I think that paranoia gets a bad rep is because it is so thoroughly misused. The definition of paranoia is an unrealistic distrust of other people or a feeling of being persecuted. It is not feeling persecuted, and it is not distrusting of other people. It is an unrealistic distrust and feeling of being persecuted. And so we throw that word paranoia around in a completely incorrect context. If feelings of being persecuted are justified, that's not paranoia. If your feelings of distrust of other people is based on the fact that they act consistently in a distrustful way, then that's not paranoia.
Okay, now, well, but unrealistic. Now, the example I just gave, okay?
Sure.
If someone sees a scratch on your daughter at school, they call CPS, and they take away your daughter, then if you have a diagnosis beforehand against such an agency or something happening like that, then what is the recourse? Because that person is obviously vindicated, validated, substantiated.
Not necessarily so. The real cure for the condition that you're talking about is for you to plan and execute your life in a more realistic manner, in a manner that takes into account all of the things like what you're talking about right now. So I've been living my life for 45 years or longer, based on an understanding that there are things out there that are dangerous to me. So when I turn rocks over, flat rocks over, with a sharpshooter shovel, instead of just reaching my hand underneath that rock and flipping it over, it's because I've seen plenty of rattlesnakes under flat rocks. And so I simply prevent rattlesnake bites by turning the flat rocks over with a sharpshooter shovel. Unfortunately, most people never really learn that what a dangerous place the world is until a lot of bad things happen to them. And by that time, they're likely to have become paranoid.
Okay. So this is just basically leading into the old MK Ultra trauma-based mind control, because that's what I feel our science is being pushed into.
Your YouTube presentation. Yes, yes, correct.
Okay, you saw my documentaries?
Yes, I've asked Billy to tell you this, but I've watched them all. Yeah, yes, I have, and I've got time watching them right now.
Oh, wow. Okay, I think we're going on a commercial break, and I will be back after this. Yeah, that's right. We are back. Red Pill Hardcore. Let's go ahead and pop that down a little bit. Yeah, step to the front door. Forget feet on the mat. I'm kicking the front door open here. For those of you who do not like that, for those of you secret government people listening in right now, and I don't know why y'all do so much surveillance on me, my computers, any of that stuff. You guys might as well wait till you hear it at the same time everybody else does. Everything I say is public. Everything I do is public. So wait your turn. Okay? So I do believe we still have Yvonne here with us. Are you here, darling?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Yes,
so
I'm here.
I want to go ahead and steer you in the right direction here.
Okay.
As far as for what the audience needs to know, what do you do for a living? Do you feel there's a correlation between what you do for a living, or possibly what you have done in a situation that you don't think that you should have been in? And is that the reason for your targeting?
Well, I sell cosmetics for a living, so I don't think that's the reason for my targeting. But I do work in the mall, and I believe that I'm being game stalked there. And I do get a lot of game stalkers that come in. But I don't know for sure what the reason.
I have seen your pictures. Okay. You are a lovely lady, very attractive. What is the difference? I'm pretty sure you've been attractive your whole life. So what is the difference between what's the difference between you being young and attractive and then coming later in life and still being attractive and having gang stalkers? How do you know the difference between just a large group of men who think you're attractive to another group of men who are gang stalkers? What's the difference to you?
What's the
I'm asking, how do you differentiate between, let's say, a group of men who are attracted to you, and then there are gang stalkers? What's the difference to you?
Sorry, V, the guest, Yvonne, dropped off. I think we lost her. We'll have to call back in.
Okay.
All right. Hey, V, let me put something in on this, okay?
Okay.
What Dr. Ted was saying about paranoia and what you got a little piece of our earlier history. We have seen some things here where we live in Central Texas. For instance, in 1966, I was in Austin when Charles Whitman climbed the tower and shot all those people. I
covered that with documentary.
Mm-hmm. I saw Mount Carmel. I saw it, not on CNN. I saw it. One of my sons actually snuck into Mount Carmel and out. I saw Luby's. I was there when they brought the bodies out and they put them into a convenience store ice truck, and then they discovered it wasn't a terrorist action. We just had Desert Storm, and they put them back in Luby's. And I didn't see the Fort Hood massacre, but I was here 4 miles away. So my behavior in public arenas is slightly different than most people. When I go into a restaurant, I sit near the restrooms. I always make sure I have a steak knife with me, things like that. And I will notice things, and it doesn't affect my whole life. I mean, I don't run around shaking and worrying about are there crowds of people around me, or are they looking at me, or anything, nothing like that. But when I'm going to, we have a store called H-E-B, which is our big supermarket.
Yes,
and I see some,
H-E-B.
Yeah, there you go. All right. And I see a young man, aggravated, walking at a feverish pace towards the door across the parking lot with a backpack on. Then I will watch that man. I will watch that man because I'm aware that there are people in this world that are deranged. They have agendas. That's not paranoia. That's common sense. That's common sense.
It's awareness.
And, yeah. So what Ted is saying...
I just like to remind everybody of one thing, and that is that Yvonne said that 20 years ago when she began to be a targeted individual, she was involved with some marginal, shady characters.
Okay, Yvonne's back. So let's start there. Yvonne, can you hear us?
Yes, I am. Sorry, they disconnected me.
I must have missed that part where Ted picked that up. But I was simply asking, what is the difference? How do you see a difference? Can you illustrate the difference between a group of men who just think that you're attractive and want to be around you to a group of men who are gang stalking? Can you illustrate what that looks like for us?
Well, I can notice that a lot of them are really perverted. And I don't know. I don't really. I don't know how to explain it.
Yvonne, this is Bill. Would you please define what you mean by perverted? A woman always has a sixth sense about these things. Men don't have that. So please define for the audience, what would you say is perverted? Like, if I saw you and you're a beautiful woman, I would look at you. I'm going to guarantee you. I like beautiful women, okay? I would look at you. But what would be a perverted look as versus somebody who admires your beauty?
Just the way that they would, just if they look up and down at you funny, or they'll smirk at you. It's just the glances and just the small little things that you can notice that some of them do. Or
so it's predatory.
Little things. Or, what was that?
So it's predatorial. Like okay, for example, I know if a guy looks at you and he likes you, he's gonna try to seem gentle, but with the smirking and all that seems predatorial. Like, yeah, like I'm gonna rape you tonight.
Yeah.
So I think that's what you mean.
Well, with the technology, they can also do certain stimulations on your body. And a lot of times when I'm when I used to work at a large clothing store, Nike, I used to have a lot of men that would come in, and then all of a sudden, certain areas of my body would be stimulated, and it was like, and it wasn't from me, it was from the microwaves. And then a guy would come up to me, and it was the most eerie feeling, because you could just feel the microwaves around us, and it would just freak me out. It was like they did it on purpose, and they would just laugh. You know what I mean? And walk off. It's like,
well,
it was like
lots
a game
of target
drama.
visual women say this. And do you also experience electronic or remote rape? Because that's what it's usually referred to.
I get that all day long. I get it all the time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's horrifying.
For the audience that's listening, these people are able to give you any sensation that they want via frequency. Let's say, I honestly think part of the pedophile culture is coming from this. If there's someone who's babysitting and they're pumped with these frequencies to be turned on, and the only thing that's around are children, they get turned pedophiles. And that's just one scenario. Okay? A person's behavior can be influenced by frequencies. Mood is the most common. It's the easiest. Thoughts and all that stuff is more complicated. But if you can turn somebody on the flick of a button from a machine, that causes all sorts of problems.
Yeah, it's sad. It's not cool. It's really embarrassing, especially when you're in a group of people.
Yeah, it's sort of like going through puberty all the time. I hear TI guys that say they ejaculate all the time in public because they're being overwhelmed with the sensation, and they know it's remote. They know it's not normal. They can feel the heating on their skin from certain areas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's terrible. I know Todd Giffen spoke about that all the time. I have never been targeted like that. Actually, maybe once I was targeted like that. I was in bed. I woke up mid-coitus with my lady, my significant other. That's never happened to me before. That's never happened.
It's horrible.
I woke up that way. So I can say it's happened to me once. Anybody else want to ring in on this? Because we're getting late in the hour of the show.
I'd like to. Go ahead, Will.
Go ahead, Ted.
I just kind of wanted to go back to what you were talking about earlier. You were talking about how you had become targeted about 20 years ago, Yvonne, and that at that time you were involved with some marginal or shady people. And I'm wondering, it seems to me that was where you were going. It seemed to me like that your feeling of being targeted was that it came from that source. Did I get that right, or did I get it wrong?
I think that's about right. I think that some of those people, because they were affiliated with more of the drugs and stuff, and it was like doing a favor for somebody running an errand or dropping them off somewhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
When just making them and getting all of a sudden involved in something that you didn't even understand what was going on, and then other people seeing you, and it was just like, and then all of a sudden you're followed, and it's like, well, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to explain.
You feel that casual affiliation led you into a trap.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Billy, go ahead. I'm sorry. Okay. Go ahead, Billy.
where do I start? These sexual feelings, sex is in the mind, mainly. It's in the mind. People think that it's physical, but it's mainly in the mind. I have seen Mark Cunningham, who is a psychiatrist who can hypnotize people, and I have seen him do sessions with women where he will suggest a climax, and they will have a climax. Okay, it's mainly in the mind.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I don't know, and I've used that myself. You know, I'm sorry, Lord, I didn't mean to do that. I promise I won't do it no more. But I've used that. I've used that on women in the past. Women are highly suggestive, and anything that comes along in that area can make them feel certain things. That's why I was asking you, and I accept your explanation. When you got a guy that's licking his lips and looking at you and leering at you and all that, yes, of course. But all women like admiring looks. All women like to appear beautiful. So, and these are areas that I can't get into because I'm not a woman. I don't understand what a woman will feel. But I believe, in the words of J. Edgar Hoover, back in the 60s and 70s, where he said, to enhance the paranoia. Enhance the paranoia. In other words, you're already worried about people that are after you, and so all you have to do is push the envelope a little bit, and you get this result like what you've got. And the more you stack upon it, then the more problems you get. And that's all. I'm not going to get into the woman side because I'm not a woman. I unlike the present generation, I'm not transgender or anything like that. So I don't understand how a woman feels. And so,
thank God, it's too late for that.
Yeah, too late for that. But I do say one thing. I will say one thing. I'm 67 years old, and if they really have a button out there they can push that will excite me, please give them my phone number. Okay, so that's all I've got to say.
Yes. Not making light of
just plain old Viagra.
Well, but not making too light of this. This is a violation. Okay, it's intrusive. It's violating. If I can rape you with my penis or a thought, what's the difference? Still being violated. It's got to stop.
That's true.
So
that would be illegal.
It is illegal in a sense. Exotic weapons are illegal. Geneva Convention. They won't back it up. I made my trek to Michigan, Detroit, because Michigan's the only state in the union that has laws against this. As far as state's concerned, it's not backed up. There's no way to back it up. So it's really, and I want to point you, Yvonne, to my documentary series. Actually, I'll have someone contact you online and send you a link to my documentaries. But for those of you listening, the unedited version, you can go to facebook.com/targeted individuals documentaries. And you'll see all my documentaries where I explain the majority of this stuff. It's incomplete. The series is incomplete. I still have 3 more documentaries to make. Because you talk about wanting to spread awareness, but we need to make sure that we're absolutely 100% educated to our greatest capabilities before we spread awareness. Because, Yvonne, you say that you have implants, microchips. They don't use microchips anymore. They have nanotech. They tend to mess with people who have had surgeries so they can implant that psychology. They can implant that psyop. So it immediately invalidates you when they torture you. This is the chemtrails. This is the nanoparticulates they're spraying on us. CIA hasn't used implants in forever. If you're 60 something years old and you complain about stuff, yeah, you may be somebody from that generation who has implants, microchips, but they're not doing it with microchips.
And what are they
anymore.
called? What are the other kind of implants called?
Well, they're using nanotechnology, nanoparticulates. Okay, this is smart dust. NASA has tons of technology based on nanotechnology. If anybody would care to look it up, tensile fibers. They're like spider webs, stronger than steel. They have got this technology right now. They are planning on putting astronauts up into wherever, in the atmosphere, moon, wherever, and that they can do biotelemetry of their vital signs based on the nano injections that they have given them. This is... You can go to Discovery Channel's YouTube channel. You can find all this information right there. Okay? Where they have smart dust. The chemtrails that they're spraying on us every day. They're lying to us saying the chemtrails stay up in the atmosphere. But anyone who knows physics knows it's a lie. Anyone who knows any common sayings like what goes up must come down knows it's a lie. The ground is saturated with aluminum particulates. Okay? There are doctors around the world who are being silenced because their patients are showing high levels of aluminum toxicity in their bloodstreams, their patients. High levels. We all have high levels of aluminum in our bloodstreams, barium, strontium, all these things that make us readable to biotelemetry frequency technology. And what are we surrounded by? Cell towers. Okay? We have satellites, the Wi-Fi, cell phones, mobile data. We're swimming in frequencies of this stuff. Okay? Oceans of frequencies. And nobody understands what's going on. Most target individuals. That's the number 2 myth that I'm trying to destroy right now. Is that it's microchips. Number 1, it's not your neighbors aiming you. Number 2, it's not microchips. Okay? It's recombinant technology. They can hit you with the frequency to make a device inside of you where these nanoparticulates line up to form a certain purpose, like, let's say, birth control or everything from that to just tracking where you are. Okay, and gathering hormones to make you act certain ways. They say with all this psychiatry, it's chemical imbalance. Well, they can make you chemically imbalanced based on what you have in your bloodstream. Hit you with a frequency. There is a chart of poisonous chemicals, okay, that the government puts out on everything. Okay, if you're an industrial worker, there's a chart. This chemical is poisonous for this parts per whatever. 1 parts per million, 1 parts per 10,000. There are no studies, there's no information out there that says having this amount of this inside of you while being exposed to this energy will have this effect on you. You will not find it because that is the covert government. And that is their secret information. We need to press these universities around the world to do testing of, okay, this person has so many parts per million or this element and they're hit with this certain level of frequencies and this is the result of this person's behavior. There needs to be studies done because that is the covert crime they're getting away with right now. There's no documentation. It doesn't exist. So,
there's some evidence of the fact that...
Go ahead.
That's true.
I
That's.
I was just going to say that.
So it's all nanotechnology now.
It's all nano.
It's not microchips or anything.
Not microchips.
Well, microchips are
When did they?
nanotech.
Is that like from like 15 years ago, or do you?
When you saw the planes in the air, when you saw the planes in the air leaving long streaks of clouds in the sky, that's when it started.
Okay.
Ingesting nano, they could ingest. We can ingest any amount of nano, and it'll pass through our system. But it has to go through our bloodstream. The quickest route to our bloodstream is through our lungs. Okay? That breaks the blood-brain barrier, and our brains are saturated with this crap. That's why the aluminum in the vaccines. They're formatting our brains. And Yvonne, you've been a great guest, and we got to have you on Targeted, the TV show, when Bill and Ted take over. We are coming down to the end of the show. I think if we can cram everybody in the last minute or so here to say something really quick, thoughts on this, and we got to end the show.
I'll just say
Yvonne, I'm Bill. Go ahead, Will.
Thank you very much. I just want to say, guys, please Google the Rhode Island General Assembly and the Rhode Island Governor. Anybody can do it. Send an email, ask them about the missing kids that we have here. And as always, V, thank you for the time.
And Yvonne, thank you for your time. I pray for you, and my heart is with you, and good luck.
No, thank you.
I'd also like to say pretty much the same thing. I'd like to convey good wishes to you, and I hope that things improve for you.
Okay. And I'm sorry, guys. I got real passionate about this stuff. And this is my purpose in life, and I'm going to continue exposing it. So, thank you for tuning in to the Red Pill Hardcore Radio Show. I'm your host, V. And remember, in the land of surveillance, the man with the third eye is king. So educate yourselves.